Hi, I'm Karen, the host of Ignite Your Confidence. I am on a mission to equip women with tools to find their voice and lead with confidence, and most importantly, stand out. It took me too long to find mine due to self-doubt and fear of what other people think. I want to help women get there sooner than later, and the ultimate goal is so that you can be free. Our next speaker is Sue Warnke. She's the president of Faithforce San Francisco and communications chair of Faithforce Global, Salesforce's Faith Diversity Employee Resource Group. She has 20 years experience as a technology director, leadership and innovation strategist, diversity and inclusion leader. Check out her blog at leanership.org. She converted to Christianity in 2017 after a lifetime as an agnostic. She's become an advocate for faith inclusion in the workplace. She has 3 teenagers. Her youngest has autism, and her husband surfs multiple times a week. Let's take a listen to what Sue had to say. And my first question to her was, tell us about what it was like when you shared your faith for the first time.
When I shared my faith for the first time was really hard. Actually, one of the first times was with my manager's manager. We happened to be having a one-on-one, and I had just been baptized the day before. So it was a huge event. And suddenly I was coming to work and I felt like this huge thing had happened to me, but I wonder if I can even talk about it. And so I felt it was so big that I needed to bring it up and let that person know that I had converted to Christianity. And, you know, I'd known her for a really long time. And so I just kind of brought it up and I said, yeah, you know, she said, how was your weekend? And I said, well, I was actually baptized as a Christian. And
Wow.
you gave me this kind of look of, wow, that's interesting, and didn't really know what to say. And it was a little awkward, but I felt at least good that I didn't have to hide it. And so that was kind of a baby step. You know, I had to sort of come out of hiding to all sorts of different populations, you know, Facebook, online, my team, and all of them were really different, and all of them were really hard, actually, because I think we assume that there's these, you know, negative impressions of Christianity, and myself having grown up as an agnostic, I understood those negative impressions of Christianity. I didn't want to be associated with that negative perception, and wanted people to listen at least enough to understand what it meant to me. So that took a lot of work, and 10 different stories I could share. But I think the key of it was just crafting my story of how I felt, how, you know, I had, you know, the essence of the testimony is I had everything, but I still had a void, went to pursue filling that void and fell on my face. And in that humility, things came into my life that helped me just find a new purpose. And so when I shared that authentically, people didn't judge, and they listened, and even more people came to me and said, oh, thank you for coming out of hiding and posting that chatter post or posting that blog. It encouraged me to do the same. And so that's kind of my purpose now, is to give Christians some really practical tips for how to share their faith in a way that's not pushy, but inviting.
Nice. Can you give 1 or 2 of those tips?
Yeah, I think the key is to be fascinated in other people. It's not actually about you and your story and making sure people understand you. I think it's much more about showing what the love of Jesus looks and feels like. So when you have a one-on-one with somebody, look at it not as an opportunity to share your faith, but an opportunity to have the other person feel what Jesus's love feels like. So if I can get out of that one-on-one with that person feeling loved, feeling truly loved, and not a love from me, but from God, that I can be a conduit of love in that meeting. And usually the best way to do that is to be curious and to ask them questions about themselves. And if it's appropriate, to even ask about their faith background. You know, it's not that hard of a question, actually, to say, what is your faith background? How did you grow up? You know, you got to work into that. But if you're curious about them and it's not even about you, then people open up a lot more, and you can have a much richer conversation. And I think they can feel Jesus. And that speaks much louder than you pushing the gospel on them. It may lead to a gospel conversation, but that is after they have, built trust and felt that you are not a threatening person, that your version of Christianity is truly loving.
That's beautiful. So great. Well, tell me, can you bring us into the moment when you talked to Mark about starting something up at Salesforce?
Yeah, and I definitely can't take credit for that. And we didn't actually talk directly to Mark. So a couple people had started that process before me, and they had already gone to what we call the Office of Equality, which is kind of HR and diversity and inclusion, and proposed this idea. And it was really the right time and the right place, and they did it in the right way, that they really started down that process. So I came into it after that had already been kind of okayed, and they were working out the details. And I met with our chief equality officer and just shared what it was like for myself and for other Christians that I had been praying with, to really personify how important it was to bring your faith to work. So I shared how at the time I was still scared to wear my cross, and many Christians had been meeting in sort of secret prayer meetings throughout the company, not sure if it was okay to call that meeting prayer or if we had to disguise it as meeting or meetup. And he was really touched by that story. He didn't like the idea of people feeling they had to hide or meeting in secret. So developing your personal story and how it feels to be afraid of bringing your faith to work is really important, and sharing that with the leaders in the right way at the right time. And I didn't do it perfectly well, but that was the one piece that resonated with him more than anything else, that I felt scared and that my colleagues actually were also hiding.
Wow. You mentioned earlier, the phrase "fell flat on my face," and I think people would certainly resonate with that and connect with that. Would you be willing to share what you meant by that?
Sure. So I had everything kind of in life. I felt like I had 3 wonderful kids, wonderful husband, friends, great job at Salesforce, but I had that void. And I thought the only way to fill, I never thought of God, but I thought, oh, maybe it's my job. Maybe I'm supposed to do something more meaningful. And I left my job at Salesforce, and I pursued a new job in training. And I was doing leadership training, which I thought would be very meaningful. And it was, but I also had to sell these classes, and I was really terrible at that. And so really for the first time in my career, I was just utterly failing. I mean, I wasn't hitting my quota even remotely, maybe 1% of my quota. It was just horrible. And so this thing that I thought would fulfill me not only did not fulfill me, but brought on a whole new set of problems. And I really, for the first time in my life, didn't know how to solve it. And I'd kind of gone through my entire list of ideas, and nothing was working to solve this thing. So I didn't pray, and I never thought of God, but I did say out loud one day, I give up. I can't fix this. And that was the first step to me, I think, opening my heart to God. And it came in the form of just people reaching out to me unexpectedly to mention something about God, or I'd be reading something not related to religion at all and see something about God. And I was really just drawn to it, music. So these things had been warming my heart. And then it culminated in a really out of the blue text from somebody who said they were praying for me. And that was followed up by a call from my aunt who wanted to share what God meant to her. And so it was just this series of coincidences, what I thought, could that be a coincidence? And I realized that it wasn't, and it was true. And so that was kind of the beginning of my conversion. But I think that moment of falling flat on your face is really key. It's, in the Bible, coming to the end of yourself. I think we all get there eventually. We come to the end of ourselves where the kind of worldly solutions don't work anymore. And that was key for me. I wish I had gotten there sooner.
Wow. What would you offer to someone who's in that same place, feeling at the end of herself?
Yeah. What I would offer is the verse in Revelation, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anybody hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and dine with you and you with me. So I want folks to know, whether you believe in God or not, wherever you are on your journey, that I believe God is there and he's knocking, and that knock comes in really subtle ways. Sometimes it's a knock over the head, and that's great because then it's obvious, right? But sometimes it's just little notes, or it's a little word, or it's a song. It's something that God is trying to reach you, and has been the entire time, and will continue forevermore. Will never stop, and he's right there behind the door. And he's knocking, and, take the time to observe those knocks and take them really seriously, because there is just bounty waiting for you if you open that door. But you have to open that door. He will not open it. He will not force it open. You have to say, okay, maybe he's there. Maybe he's real, and open it. And for me, doing that, really just saying, okay, maybe I was wrong all this time, led to such tremendous fruit, such blessing, just almost immediately the removal of anger and bitterness. I forgave people in my life I hadn't been able to forgive. I was given my old job back at Salesforce, where I had a purpose, and I was able to bring in these faith communities and really unlock faith for just thousands of employees, with the help, of course, of many other employees. And of course, God really is leading all of this. So if you are at that end of your rope and end of yourself, that's a huge blessing, because everybody will get there, and you are there now, and at least it's not 10 years from now.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. It's super encouraging. So I want to move into our lightning round of questions as we wrap up here. So what was your first concert?
Oh, I think it was Cyndi Lauper.
How about, what is on your nightstand right now?
Oh, I don't exactly have a nightstand, but I have a bunch of junk there, glasses and lotion and cups that I need to put away. So I'm very disorganized.
How about a fill in the blank? In high school, I was most likely to...
I would say act. So I loved theater, and I got to be in a few plays that were like the highlight of my high school career. I was Helena in Midsummer Night's Dream, which I'll never forget.
Oh, awesome. How about your favorite travel destination?
I am a homebody. I don't like to travel, but I do love Disneyland, because I have 3 teenagers, and it's one thing that everybody can agree on, and everybody's happy there no matter what.
Nice. What is your guilty pleasure on Netflix?
Oh, I love crime drama where the bad guy gets caught. I get so much pleasure out of that, like real documentaries, not fiction, but where there's a bad person and they get caught and they get sentenced. I love that. It's just, we don't get that in life all the time. So to be able to just feel justice every now and then is my guilty pleasure.
Thanks. How about something that you always keep in your purse?
Well, I'm working from home now, like everybody else, for quarantine, and so I don't ever go anywhere. I don't even have a purse anymore. But probably my inhaler. So I have asthma every now and then, and gotta have that on hand.
That's pretty essential.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. When you're having a bad day, what is the one thing that cheers you up?
When I'm having a bad day, it's usually because of just the amount of problems that I've had to solve throughout the day in my job. And so the best thing for me is something that will help me unwind, and usually it's reading some stupid magazine about celebrities, or watching a very simple show to just, that I don't have to solve this thing, I can just consume. So that's what I do.
I love it. Well, thank you, Sue, so much. And where can people reach you if they would like to connect?
Yeah, my blog is called leanership.org, like leadership, but with an N, because it's all about leaning on God for your power and support and guidance. So leanership.org. And you can also link up with me on LinkedIn, and I have a lot of content there too that may be helpful. But on my blog, I have those practical tips that may help you live out your faith every day.
Wasn't that amazing? I handpicked each of these people so that you can be inspired to find your voice, lead with confidence, and stand out. This is Karen, your host of Ignite Your Confidence.